We take the trash out at night. We do the payroll. We do pretty much everything. It's such a dangerous phrase, and I just think it costs people. It's one of the worst ways to look at things. The question I ask is, have I mastered that? Have I really truly mastered that and put that to its use and put that to its ability within the business? And is the business then demonstrating the fact that we have mastered that skill?
Everything we do at the Entourage is about helping our members grow their business, which is why it's so rewarding to bring you this bonus episode where our head of brand, Mariah Clay, sits down with one of our members and talks about their success. For those of you running your own business, these are people going along the journey just like you. So, Mariah, over to you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Making It Happen with Members. I'm Mariah, the head of brand here at the Entourage, and I'm so excited to have, and I don't play favorites, but I reckon this is one of my favorites. We are here with Jye Bohm, one of our incredible Elevate members. He is the co-founder of PROFINISH Coatings and also front runner and apparel wear business. Jye, thank you so much for having a chat with me today.
No worries. It's great to be here, and I'll hold you to that. One of the favorites. There better be some benefits, I reckon.
Oh, they're definitely, well, one of the benefits is speaking to me right now.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
We'll just say you're a veteran, which is part of the reason why you're one of my favorites. But what I really love about your journey, which is what we're going to dig into today, is you started and you joined us with PROFINISH Coatings, your first business, and you wanted to kind of step out of the day-to-day there and move into a position where you could lead the business. But on your journey with us too, you've also started another business, Frontrunner, which became a 7-figure business within its first year of operations, which is absolutely incredible. How would you describe your whole entrepreneurial journey in just a single word?
Hectic.
Hectic. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
No, look, it's been a journey. It's been probably a journey more of personal development than anything. But the thing is, I think with business owners, with entrepreneurs, is that you get there's a lot of days where it's very stressful, but there's a lot of days where it's unbelievable. And I think those days where it's unbelievable sort of make up for anything else in between. And I think most of the time it's just a matter of personal development, learning, understanding, and growing. It's been a fun journey so far.
It's been really fun to watch on the sidelines. You go from absolute strength to strength. Can you talk to us a little bit about the early days of PROFINISH and when you were starting to join the Entourage, you were considering joining the Entourage, what your time in the business looked like back then?
Yeah, cool. So PROFINISH, I actually met a guy at the football club, Justin, my business partner. He sort of got me to start with him, and basically we found this opportunity together. He had this opportunity, I looked into it, and we ended up, sort of long story short, we ended up going into business together. And at that point, I think he had about 3 or 4 employees, and we very quickly grew that to about, I think it was about 10 to 15. And at that point, we had some mentors, but we found a mentor basically that was a business that was probably double, maybe triple the size of us. And we were doing a lot of the things that sort of they were doing, we're learning from them. And then it got to the point where we sort of outgrew them, or we got to a point where we were like, well, we're already doing all of those things. So it just got so manic and so crazy that we're like, all right, well, we don't know what we're doing. We need to look into something. And it was at that point I was looking for something, and little old Jack popped up in a video. Little old Jack popped up in a video on Facebook, and he was talking about the 6 pillars of business. So well done to your marketing team. And
thank you.
Yeah, nailed it. So he was talking about 6 pillars of business, and it just made a lot of sense. And like I said, at that point in time, we'd grown to probably, like I said, 10 to 15 employees, I think it was. And it was at the point where it was too busy for us to do everything. So we'd gone from being able to do everything. We started to get a bit of a team. We started to delegate a few things out, but it just started to get bigger and bigger. And we had to start to put some systems, procedures, and things in place to be able to grow. And just to be honestly, to be able to just keep saying, that was half the thing. Like you end up just working more and more hours. So we just needed some sort of a roadmap to be able to actually still work and have a life at the same time. So
yeah. What did a typical day in the business look like for you back then?
Well, probably a jack of all and a master of none, really. We basically had to do everything from, for me personally, it was everything from the top of the funnel, the marketing, the sales. I had a lot to do with the product delivery as well, especially because it was a new area in the fire protection. So I was doing a lot of that. It got to the point where Justin and I even went to site and we were doing the spraying or doing some of the install. But we'd take the trash out at night. We do the payroll. We do pretty much everything. So we literally had our finger in every pie, and we were doing everything within the business at that point. So it was very crazy, and everything was starting to get bigger. So it just wasn't possible.
Yeah, I think hectic was definitely the right word for you to pick to describe at least the early days of your journey. What was it like? We speak a lot to, not just our members, but people in our community about finding a mentor. But what was it like finding a mentor, but realizing really quickly that you outgrew them or you would kind of surpass their knowledge and their expertise and how much they could help you too? Because typically mentors are there to supposed to help you grow and help you evolve, but then that would have had quite the opposite effect for you as well.
Well, to be honest, it was actually really empowering because it was like, um, this guy's got a business and he's someone that we consider as quite successful, and then like we in our eyes, very quickly had outgrown, their capabilities of what they were sort of doing. So it sort of started to give us a bit of confidence that we were doing business in a different way, and we're doing business in a better way, um, and that we were destined for bigger and better things too. So, and I think just the curiosity, like I said, back to that personal development, like it was just very quick learning. And Jack talks about this sometime. He said it recently on the retreat. He said it's not necessarily the time in which you spend in something, it's actually the amount of knowledge and the amount of like
Mm.
things that you do is how knowledgeable you become in the area. It's not the time. It's all about compressing those time frames into learning as quick as possible. And I think we just did that. I think just sheerly, for the pure fact that we wanted to grow and wanted to see how big we could make this thing, we were just doing everything. We just said yes to every
Mm.
type of work. We were going and knocking on everyone's door. We were calling everyone. It grew very quickly. So it was, like I said, it was very empowering to get to a point where we'd outgrown a mentor. But then we very quickly found out that we just looked, we had to find someone that could then take us to the next step.
Yeah. I think it speaks a lot to your curiosity as a business owner and entrepreneur and also your hunger to learn more, that you saw that as an opportunity, that there was still more to learn. I think some people might look at that experience and say, well, we've learned everything that we can learn and that's it. And we're just going to keep going as it is. But you saw that as an opportunity to dive deeper into not just growing the business and learning how to do that, but into personal growth as well. And I think that's a really fantastic call out of the early stages of your journey as well, particularly with the entourage, that gave you hunger to learn and dive into more of business growth and personal growth. Would you say that's where your mindset was at the time?
Yeah, yeah. So I've personal development's been a thing for me for a long time. It's something I love, and I think that you know I've always of the opinion for things to get better, I need to get better. For things to grow, I need to grow. And then on top of that, a lot of people say that I already know that, or I've heard that before,
Mm.
or I understand that.
Or we've always done it that way.
Yeah, but I just think it's such a dangerous phrase, and I just think it costs people. It's one of the worst ways to look at things because I believe that I read quite a lot of books, but I actually don't read a lot of different books. I tend to go back to the same ones and just
Mm.
keep reading and rereading and rereading. And it's kind of, I suppose, a reason why I've been with the Entourage for so long is because there's so many different things to learn. And yes, I've probably been through and I've at least gone through and done probably most of the courses and everything else and a lot of different things. But the question I ask is, have I mastered that? Have
Mm.
I really truly mastered that and put that to its use and put that to its ability within the business? And is the business then demonstrating the fact that we have mastered that skill? So I think, yeah, so I think, like I said, curiosity to understand more and to be better, but then to master it and become, really demonstrate that within the marketplace, especially in business, has been something that's been super fun part of the journey and definitely helped us.
I love that idea. It's not, how much time can I put into this, but, to what degree can I master this skill,
Yeah.
and put that back to my business? What do you think have been the core skills you've mastered since you've joined the entourage?
Well, very diverse. I think. One of the across each pillar, I think there's been a definitely level of mastery across a lot of them. Probably one of the biggest things that's really helped us with our fast growth has been a lot of the sales stuff. So like a lot of the sales process, a lot of just the mindset, a lot of working with the customer, creating a buyer's mindset, all that sort of stuff. That's definitely been one of the masteries. I think one of probably the biggest things that's made a big difference is just giving ourselves the time to think. So creating the space and the awareness that we need to remove ourselves from the business and put ourselves in a position where we can actually think, plan, and proactively solve the solutions that not only we're facing now, but that potentially going to pop up in the future.
Because at the level you're at now, that's just crucial for you moving
Yeah,
forward. That ability to
absolutely.
step back and really look at something with a bird's eye view and really plan for success, not plan for what do we need to do next, but think longer term as well.
Big time. And there's a lot of there's a term zooming in and zooming out. You need to be able to zoom out and view the whole business and understand, what's happening across the whole business, but then zoom back in and actually get to work and get the things done on the areas you need to. And I think it's important to have both. I think you can't always be stuck in that zoom out phase where you're looking at everything from a distance, unless you're playing in the entrepreneur as an advisor potentially. But you still need to be able to zoom in and make sure that those tasks get done, which is super important. So.
What of the skills that you've mastered with ProFinish have you been able to transplant with Frontrunner, and what of those skills do you think you can attribute the success of Frontrunner to?
Yeah, so look, I can't take the credit for Frontrunner. I think whilst I've been able to guide and help on a lot of things, I think Timmy and Bree have done an amazing job. They really, really have done an awesome job. But I think that some of the things that I've been able to help with are just probably like timing on things and like when to bring things in, and certain like glass ceilings that happen within businesses. And just because ProFinish, both fire protection, probably fire protection more so than coatings, but fire protection and coatings, the two businesses, because they're at the level of revenue that they are, I'm able to, we've been through a lot of the problems. So one of the first things we did with Frontrunner was I actually said we need to get a really capable bookkeeper. And someone that's actually dealt with profit and loss and forecasting and cash flow and that sort of stuff before. So when we put on that position, the lady's name's Bernadette. She's doing an absolutely fantastic job, but she does all of our forecasting. We catch up once a week, but we've just known our numbers from the start. So we knew, there's so much in that, but like we knew how much revenue we need. We know we could plan out for our overheads. We could plan out for any events. We could plan out for what was coming, different seasons. And then also from another perspective, we look sexy to banks. So, for a long time, it's been really hard for us to get any funding in ProFinish fire protection and coatings. It's just been so hard because the way we grew the business was just put everything, probably more than we should have, into growth. And that's probably an argument for another day to invest before the growth curve, whether or not. But for Frontrunner, funding hasn't been an issue because we've been able to make the business look sexy on paper. So banks and everyone else are happy to loan us the money if we need it.
Absolutely. I think it's so surprising, and just hearing anecdotally from the coaches or even speaking with Jack, how many business owners aren't across their numbers, and they don't really place that emphasis on tracking the numbers until they really are at that stage where it just becomes really critical for them. And it's not too little too late, but and something that Jack says that really resonates with me, and I'm sure it resonates with you too, is you have to give the money in the business respect, because what you put into it, you get out of it in terms of if you're constantly, tracking the numbers, tracking your performance, then the results will come. It's not a matter of just, praying to the gods or seeing what comes and then money comes through. It's giving that money respect, which is so interesting to say anecdotally or hear anecdotally that for some business owners, that often isn't the case until they're much further along on the journey as well.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Yeah, look, I agree. I think it's super important. I think that I think it gets missed too often. I think that it's surprising how little time it can actually take to do it well as well, if you know what you're looking for and if you know how to set it up. Like our bookkeeper, she does payroll, she does all our invoicing, all our everything. She works, I think, 2 days a week, and that's in a $1.5, $2 million business. So, it can be surprising how little amount of time it happens. But I just think money is fuel. like you just got to see it as the fuel to drive the beast, drive the engine, like drive the machine. So that's all it is. It's just the fuel to get you to the goals. And I think that um, when explaining it to anyone else in the business and those kind of things as well, I think when you have a good vision, mission, values, and potentially goals that come out of that, like you can allocate your money. It's really easy to show you and your team exactly where the money's going and exactly why the fuel and the money is important and how much we need to save, how much we need to make, how much we need to do everything in order to get us to those goals. So I think it all kind of ties back into each other. But yeah, it's super important. It's where we start for any decisions. It's the basis of our like I said, it's where we start for any future decisions.
Yeah, it's that partner in business that's going to amplify your vision forward and make sure that you can actually set out to do what you plan to set out to do moving forward as well. So it's really great to hear that with the front runner journey that you've been able to kind of cast a new page forward and try something or do something a little bit differently than what you would have done with Pro Finish when you started back in the day as well. What would you say were the biggest limitations to your growth in Pro Finish that you've been able to learn from and push forward with Frontrunner? So there's obviously the budgeting and the money side of things too, but what else have you really learned on that journey, or you would consider to be one of your limitations to growth that now you just feel like you've completely mastered or stepped beyond?
I think there's growth inhibitors within every department. And if we talk about the six pillars of business, we've got marketing, sales, product delivery, operations, finance, and people. So for marketing, some of the things might be for Frontrunner especially, it's just like an easy thing is the amount of followers we have on Instagram. It's the
Mm,
size of our email list. So a growth inhibitor for us is the amount of people that we have the ability to market to. Same thing with Pro Finish. Like, what is our customer and client base? How can we increase that? So just understanding those sort of those numbers and those figures, that's been a real growth unlock for us. What are some other things? So operations is something that is, I think, I think it's probably the most underdeveloped and under recognized pillar within business. Um,
mm.
I would say more so than finance, because at the end of the day, like most people know whether they're making money or not to some degree.
It's black and white, whereas operations is it's more than just is the business running smoothly. It's a complete grey area for really seeing the effectiveness of that within the business.
Absolutely, absolutely. So growth unlock, I think, for companies is the ability to turn um, IP into you know into the IT sector, or IQ into
Mm,
IP. So being able to turn, what's in my head, and this is what most business owners have to start with. It's like, I'm doing this, I understand how to do it, but it's then how do I take that and put it into some sort of a document procedure where anyone from the street or anyone that I come and hire can then take that procedure and do the job as well as what
mm,
I would, or in most cases, better than what I can. So I think that's another growth unlock. Um,
mm.
I think recruitment is a massive one too. I think who to recruit, when to recruit. That's a big part.
That's a huge thing for business owners moving forward too. Like particularly with people looking for jobs, there's a lot of talent out there at the moment too. A lot of businesses are poised for growth moving forward too. That whole recruitment thing will be such a big play for so many business owners. And I can particularly see our members in our community wanting a lot of support and guidance on their journeys for recruitment and growth too. Um, Going through that currently, it's a fun beast to tackle, but it's definitely a one that, you know, you can make a lot of mistakes really quickly. And in that instance, I think the recruitment side of things is quite, they are, reversible decisions to a degree, but, you don't want to make too many mistakes too quickly on that front either.
No, that's right. That's right. And I think one of the other things about recruitment is who to recruit in terms of like the
The stage you're at.
yeah, exactly, and the level of skill that they bring. Because I think that especially when you're a fast growing company, if you hire someone that's too for lack of a better term, junior,
Mm,
and you put them into a medium sort of role, and then as you grow, that becomes more of a senior role. A lot of the time, you can't afford to carry both a senior role and a junior role. You might only need the one
mm,
person. So there's a lot that goes into forecasting. Well, who is the person I need now, but who is the person I need next? And I think that there's a real balance there, because if you get the person that's too far down the road, then it's just not going to work. They're going to want to do all the big strategy stuff, but they're not going to want to do the day to
mm.
day things. Whereas you get someone that's like I said, too junior, they're not going to have the skill to take your business to the next level, and you're going to have to be the one that levels up and then trains them, which I think can be a real growth inhibitor. And I think just having that awareness and having that ability to be able to predict, one, and then two, pick the right person is super important in that decision.
That's a skill in its own right. And it's one of those things where you get it wrong, the gap just continues to increase and increase and increase if,
Absolutely.
you don't
Absolutely.
bring that right person on, and it just becomes a bit of a snowball effect. But not wishing that upon anyone at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Looking back on your journey, what would you say, since you've joined the Entourage, would be some of your highlights or your milestones in Pro Finish's growth and journey, and then also with Frontrunner as well?
Points in the past that have been like really, um, I'm really proud of, have been parts of like where I've been able to have the choice to do tasks, like to be able to actually like step back and go, well, I don't need to be the person that has to do this. I've got other things that are more important. Um, then also, just personally from a financial perspective, being able to, um, have a bit of a base, and purchase my first house, and move into there with my wife, and have an amazing wedding and an amazing honeymoon, and then being able to support my family financially with, I've started a business with my dad now, and I helped my brother start a business. Um, it's just been, there's been some really, really cool moments like that. I think Justin and I in Pro Finish, and even now that we've got the business partner Russ, we still pinch ourselves at times, and we remember back to the days where we were, like I said, we were spraying jobs, we were doing jobs in the street, and some things went wrong. There's just been so many fun points along the way. But most notably, probably getting to step into that entrepreneurial seat, and you really sort of start to have an understanding of that when you go to events, when you get the chance to go to an event,
Mm.
um, because you go to the event and it's like you're scared because you think the business is going to go, you know, something's going to go wrong, or something's going to happen, and then there's this moments where you get back and you're like everything's fine, like, or even if something happened, like my team was able to take care of it, and it's really cool when those sort of moments happen. So.
Do you kind of see yourself as two different people or two different business owners from where you were to where you are now?
Oh, massively. Yeah, 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 absolutely. Like I read back to some of my journals or some of my diaries, and I'm just like, it's so cool to see, the growth that we've had along the way. And yeah, it's very notable to me to see the differences between the two people. I think that the one thing that people can never take away from you is your knowledge and experience. And I think that
I love that.
Yeah, and I think that no matter what situation you get into in life, you always got to back yourself. And I think that the better, the more you can learn, the more you can understand, the more you can just get out there and do more things, the more valuable you are as a person in society, and the more value you can bring to value and impact you can bring to the people around you and to this, like I said, society. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Looking to the future, you say there's a lot more for you to learn, there's a lot more for you to grow. What are you really excited about looking to the future, and where your journey is going to take you, or where do you want your journey to take you?
Yeah, cool. So I just got back from a retreat in Byron with you guys, which was amazing.
I
Um,
heard some stories.
it was great. My wife was there with me as well, so it was awesome to get to spend the time with her through that process. One of the things we did there was Purpose Playbook, and it was just a really good. I do something very similar. It's the first time I've really done that sort of style with Jack. For the next steps for me, are trying to align the things that I do in the day to day up with the things that light me up. So I've got a real passion for the reef, Great Barrier Reef. I'd love to do something there, potentially with my father, potentially with my family. Around that, my family's from Port Douglas, so I'd love to do something around that. Pro Finish, I want to see how big and how grand we can grow this thing, and how much, how far we can take it with its vision. Um, so there's just all of these different things in my life. I want to be able to line up with the things that I actually really want to do. We've been at Pro Finish, for example, has been in a very high growth um, stage of business for the last 5-6 years, like super quick, um, grown exponentially very quickly, and there's a lot of challenges and stuff that have popped up from that. And so one of the
Mm.
things I'm really looking forward to doing is just really stabilizing all of the different areas of the business and making sure that it's going to be around for a very, very long time, generations. And I want to make sure that sort of everything across my life is lining up with the things that I want to do, and making sure that they're around for a long time.
Well, I love that. The whole Entourage team can't wait to support you on that journey and kind of see where you take it next. And yeah, particularly with the Purpose Playbook, I heard so much about how incredible that is. For those who are listening, that's Jack's. Jack's developed a lot of IP around the mechanics of business and the core things that go into business. And then Purpose Playbook is the mechanics that go into your personal growth, and how you take that forward as well as a business owner. And really seeing you, Jye, and then the rest of the members lean into that was really incredible, because we say the business can't grow if you're business owner, you're not growing either. And so to see you really lean into that, and support that huge exponential growth that ProFinish has gone through, front runners going through, I think it's going to be a really exciting next 12 months for you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Mariah. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, that Purpose Playbook was amazing. I couldn't recommend it more highly to anyone. Very, very amazing session. Just amazing session. I think it's a coincidence that there's 6 pillars of business and there's 6 pillars of life. I think that's well, it's funny how that just lined up. I think that was
That's
great.
it.
So
That's how it's meant to be. You're the type
yeah.
of person who would pick up on that as well. Well, thank you so much, Jye. Really enjoyed chatting with you today. Just good luck with everything. Like I said, you are one of my favorite members for a reason. Can't wait to see you in person
Thanks,
and then
Mariah.
do this in person, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Absolutely. That'd
Jye.
be great. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you learned something in the episode that you can apply to your business straight away. To keep learning with us, make sure you subscribe and also hit the bell icon so you're notified of new episodes when they're released. You can also follow us on @TheEntourageOfficial on all the social media platforms. So thank you, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.